know about the East Valley?
East Coast?
Do you know anything about the East Valley? Not nothing. Do you ever been down to the East Valley?
No.
No. So have you ever like heard of this towns like Mecca? And
No, I've never been there. I don't even know where it is.
Like the trailer parks down Valley? Have you heard of like Duroville or St. Anthony's?
Yes, I have.
Do you know like much about them?
I just know, I have an idea of where they are, and I know that they're for lower income housing. And I've heard that some of them, the owners of the actual trailer parks do not maintain the facilities very well, and they're not up to standard, which means they're more at risk for disease and fire, which I believe is wrong. And also, I've heard that there are some harboring of illegals in some of those trailer parks. I don't know necessarily that's true, but that's what I've heard in the past. It's not as affluent as the western side, and it's a lot more youthful as well. You also have a lot more immigrants from Mexico who are California residents, and maybe some that are not. And it's definitely Spanish is more used over there than on the western side. There seems to be like a divide between white and Latino. That's at least the impression that I get, especially once you cross Jefferson Street.
So we went to the dividing line of Jefferson. As we turned onto Highway 111 towards Indio, we see less buildings in development and more open desert space.
It's kind of interesting just to see like the difference, like from older, like in India, there's really like older buildings and everything. But I'm amazed by the people that they want to live there. They don't want to go anywhere else. They feel comfortable there because they don't have like homeowners association, telling them you can't have your house this way or your trailer or whatever they have.
The only time I hear about Mecca is when I go to church on Sunday. And Father Lincoln says that we're going to pass again the envelope for Mecca, for the roof, or the tent, or the school.
So, Father Lincoln, what do you know about the east side of the valley?
Well, the east part of the valley, which I would define as maybe Coachella on eastward, represents part of the greatest economic disparity that I'm aware of in the United States, and one of the biggest in the world, meaning that we have an area of Palm Desert, Indian Wells, La Quinta, which is relatively quite affluent, even nationally quite affluent. And then we have this other area, scant 20 miles away as the crow flies, which particularly in terms of the trailer parks is extremely poor, impoverished indeed. And so there's this enormous economic disparity in terms of how people live, what they eat and so forth, versus here, meaning the greater Palm Desert area, and the trailer parks, which are really to the east and the southeast and of Mecca. So we have clearly a responsibility towards them. And Bishop Barnes has frequently said that this phrase, if my neighbor's not okay, then I'm not okay. And having been in these trailer parks in the East Valley, believe me, our neighbors out there are not okay. For example, if you go to many of the trailer parks, which incidentally are huge, having 3,000 or 4,000 people depending on the season, many of them have sewers, which are at best third world, meaning that there's tubes that come out of the trailers, and they're not very big. They're perhaps this big if you get that on your camera. And they go out to a field where the sewage is dumped. The sewage can spill over mounds in the field and actually form pools where the kids sometimes mistake it for a wading pool, and they're wading in sewage. So that some of the schools out there have had kids go to school with these rashes on their legs. Now this doesn't happen certainly all the time, but the sewage can be dumped in the fields. Now that's something that's unheard of, just this 20 miles in this other world that we live in. In terms of their diet, our parish is engaging with a group called Latina Health Access and the University of California at Irvine and the Foley Foundation to help with the health care and the health and education in terms of their health care out in that area. It's my understanding that when kids go to school, for example, at Mecca Elementary School, I think I'm right on this, that they get a medical checkup, the kids do, when they're kindergarten and first grade, but there is no medical checkup given in second, third, and fourth. So whatever medical checkups the kids have would have to be done either, I think, in Borrego Springs or in Indio. And in terms of health education, in terms, for example, of diabetes, we hope that we can help in those areas, not just provide some food, but provide some health awareness in conjunction with the food, in conjunction with, we hope, other things that we're doing out there. Our parish has agreed to deliver, we have given $100,000 worth of food during the course of this past year, and we will give probably another $50,000 we'll continue till the end of December of this year. And then during that time also we'll be engaging in the Latino Health Access and other areas that we hope we can help. The trouble is there's hundreds of trailer parks and they're hidden. I mean, you'd never know there's a trailer park there. You can't take care of everybody. And that's always the big issue is where do you use your resources? Where do you use the treasures? Where does God want you to use the resources? And you need to take all this to prayer. And what does the Lord Jesus want you to do? And sometimes you simply do your best and pray about it. But recognize that we do have a responsibility to those people, and most especially to the children, which are in the thousands on those trailer parks.
30 miles from Xavier, we find a mobile home park of Duroville. 11 years ago, Duroville was created by Harvey Duro. Now, Xavier goes to Duroville every week to help the community by tutoring the youth and having food and clothes drives during the holiday season. Harvey Duro is a member of the Torres Martinez tribe. He created the park for farm workers who have been kicked out of mobile parks in Riverside because of code non-compliance.
The guy owns it. It's fairly run down. It's not up to code. He's been sued by the county, the city, the state. It serves a lot of families who are just happy to be there. That's what I know about it.
Well, first let's start with the park. As you guys might have heard already with all the publicity this park gets, most of our electrical system is outdated, needs to be updated. Unfortunately, they don't have sewer lines here. That would be really great if we can get sewer lines. Right now, everything goes to our ponds in the back, so it takes quite a bit of time for everything to break down the way it's supposed to. And really one of the main problems here are the trailers themselves, but those are owned by the tenants.
Okay, so they're all individually owned?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
And so this isn't like the only park out here, I mean, in the Eastern Valley. Do you know how many there are?
Supposedly, I believe in court they said there was 100 and some. I don't remember what some is, but I know it's over 100 trailer parks. And just down the street on 70th, we have another park that's even bigger than this one.
Really?
And pretty much the same condition. We need play areas for the kids here. That's one complaint my kids had when we lived here, and the kids still have here. There's really nowhere for them to play. You know, not anything fancy. Maybe a couple basketball courts. It'd be nice to get some grass to grow, soccer, baseball field, whatever. Because right now they do get together in this empty space we have over there, but it's just dirt and rocks. So.
Right.
You know, kids fall and get hurt, so. And if they go in the front, actually it's not a great place for them to play because we've had quite a few accidents out there where the cars spin out and actually end up on an empty property out front, so it's kind of dangerous for the kids. Also, people can really understand it is the farm makers, they really don't make that much money.
Right.
When I first came out here, I do accounting. I didn't have a job. And I went around looking for accounting jobs, and compared to LA and Orange County, they don't pay much out here for accounting jobs. So I actually worked the grapes for one season, and I tell you something, for someone who's used to working in an office, you get out there, it's not back-breaking because you're not really bending over like the other stuff they have to pick, but you drink a lot of water if you're not used to being out there, and I got sick the first couple days.
Really?
When you have the newscasters telling you this, the radio station, especially the Spanish stations, really seem to overdo it.
Oh, that's bad.
And in my opinion, all they're doing is creating a bigger problem for the people because they won't pay for a few months, they'll fall behind, then it's hard for them to catch up. And like I said, I don't blame them. You know, if the park is really closed, then why are you going to pay?
Right.
But that false information gets out there and makes it harder. So therefore, we can barely keep afloat. His name is Kenny Dickerson. Just trying to get approval from the BIA to do some building, but they're a long way off. I mean, they're gonna do it. He says supposedly on donations. So he needs $6 million, and we have zeros on it. We have one more year only on the original 2 years that they gave us. The last February judge. So after that, I don't know if they're going to say extend it or not.
Or if you have to close the park.
Or if you have to close the park or whatever.
And that'd be a huge problem.
Well, that would definitely be a huge problem. You're talking about when we're at the peak season, we have maybe about 5,000, a little bit over 5,000 people here. When we're not peak, anywhere from 2 to maybe 2,600, 2,700, depending on how many went up north and followed the harvest. So you're talking about quite a bit of people that would have nowhere to go. The gentleman just donated $10,000 for that. Now it's really nice, the facility. You know, I've heard some other things are in the pipeline. So maybe the people will come and then they grab what they feel would be a change. And you know, we don't tell them, oh, put your money here or there. You know, they decide where it's going to go. To anyone that's interested, I say, come out here, see it for yourself. It's not as what they've been reporting.
Yeah.
In the papers. When there's no funds, you know, you have to take what you can get and try to do the best with it.